My name is Bill Schimm. Today, June 6, 2020, I am 96 years old. I am a W-2 Army veteran. 76 years ago, on June 6, 1944, I was serving in the U.S. Army as 20-year-old Corporal William H. Schimatowski in General Patton's 3rd Army, 22nd Division. I did not take part in the heroic events of D-Day itself, but my division did land on Utah Beach. I served alongside many heroic men who had survived D-Day, but I don't recall any of them speaking of its horrors while we pressed toward victory over Hitler. I wanted to say a few things today to honor those heroes and all who sacrificed their lives for our great privileged freedom we enjoy in this nation. We were stationed in the southern England, several divisions getting ready to go into Germany. And so we laid around, nothing to do, and someone came up and said, you know, they're going to have a dance here pretty soon, next couple of days. And so, boy, we all decided we were going to go. And I don't know just where this dance was, but 10 or 15 young ladies showed up, and we showed up. And we danced for 2 hours and had a wonderful time. And then when the dance was over, why, the band played Till We Meet Again. And so we started dancing. And after about 30 seconds, why, all the gals grabbed us and hugged us tight until the song was over. And there were a few tears that night. But then we got into our trucks and went back to where we were staying, and I noticed everybody was just staring off into space, either looking forward or out the window. Not a word was said. We got off our trucks, went to our place where we were staying, went to bed. Not a word was said the entire time. On June 6, 1944, 150,000 Allied soldiers landed on 5 beaches in Normandy in a bold attack on 60 divisions of battle-hardened German forces. The Allied troops would be the first to see 1 million of Hitler's best soldiers in France. By sheer numbers, the Normandy invasion was the greatest amphibious assault of all time. 5,000 ships, 11,000 aircraft, 175,000 troops in all. For sheer human determination and uncommon valor, D-Day remains the touchstone of modern military history. After 2 years of planning, the Allied fleet of landing craft sailed into the teeth of the formidable German Atlantic Wall. Giant bunker fortresses with large artillery bore down murderously on the invaders. Thick smoke from mortar fire clouded the beaches. Heavy seas and incoming tides carried soldiers hundreds of yards off course as they struggled to shore between deadly submerged mines and interlacing machine gun fire. At Omaha Beach, American troops were hit by artillery fire from 1,000 yards out into the water and across 200 yards of open beach. Many units lost half of their men, even before reaching the sea walls and cliffs. For the first 90 minutes, in a miserably long time on the bloody, bull-rotten beaches, it looked as if Normandy would become an Allied defeat. But after continuous waves of incoming troops, one squad after the other silenced pillboxes and machine gun nests, the tide began to turn. Colonel George Taylor of the 16th Infantry Regiment recalled saying, "2 kinds of people are staying on this beach, the dead and those about to die. Now let's get the hell out of here." The American, Canadian, and British soldiers who scaled the bluffs and stopped the German 88mm guns often had no leaders or orders. Nothing beyond the simple fact that they were still alive. So this is about a young man named Jim Radford, a young lad from England. In order for us to advance, we had to have new docks, so they had to rebuild these docks. And so this is where Jim Radford came in, and this is his story. In the cold gray light of the 6th of June, in the year of 44, the Empire Large sailed out from Poole to join with thousands more. The largest fleet the world had seen, we sailed in close array, and we set our course for Normandy at the dawning of the day. There was not one man in all our crew but knew what lay in store, for we had waited for that day through 5 long years of war. We knew that many would not return, but all our hearts were true, for we were bound for Normandy, where we had a job to do. Now the Empire Large was a deep-sea tug with a crew of 33, and I was just a galley boy on my first trip to sea. I little thought when I left home of the dreadful sights I'd see, but I came to manhood on the day that I first saw Normandy. At Arromanches, off the beach of gold, neath the rocket's deadly glare, we towed our block ships into place, and we built a harbor there. Mid shot and shell, we built it well, as history does agree, while brave men died in the swirling tide on the shores of Normandy. For every hero's name that's known, 1,000 died as well. On stakes and wires their bodies hung, rocked in the ocean swell, and many a mother wept that day for the sons they loved so well. Men who cracked a joke and caged a smoke as they stormed the gates of hell. As the years passed by, I can still recall the men I saw that day who died upon that blood-soaked sand where now sweet children play. And those of you who were unknown, who've lived in liberty, remembered those who made it so on the shores of Normandy. Thank you for listening to these recollections. This nation is richly blessed by God. Our Declaration of Independence says, we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. Our rights are given to each by God Himself with the gift of life. Our government was formed to protect these basic human rights. It is my prayer that this nation, for which so many gave so much, will continue to advance in living up to its sacred constitutional promise.